Chaos Zero Nightmare is gonna release on October 22nd. In this video, we're gonna go over everything we have to know before we actually jump into the action.
失敗は許されない。皆心しておけ。行くぞ。
The first and the most important thing that you have to understand is to not listen to any of this clickbait slop that people shit out left, right and center. For example, this Pridewin reroll guide or anything like that. Any guide like character breakdowns, tier lists, reroll guides, basically any single guide out there is 100% invalid. And that's the most important thing you have to understand, as if you do not realize this, you will fall for misinformation and you are bound to make crazy mistakes right out of the gate. And in gacha games you cannot make mistakes, especially not early on. This will break your account. And the foundation that you will build your account up upon, if this is already flawed, your entire account will be flawed. And yeah, you should definitely avoid the mistakes. It's the most important thing. Let me tell you a little bit about why guides are completely impossible to make yet. That is because we simply don't have the data, right? Who would have guessed? The playtest locked characters at level 30. That's a massive deal because each and every character, as you can see on your screen, they have a skill tree attached to them. And there are key nodes in this skill tree that can make or break a character in its entirety. If you don't have access to these key nodes, then playing and testing this character is completely invalid. Your data is flawed because you cannot play this character to its maximum potential, and therefore your judgment, whatever conclusion you might draw, is 100% not legit at all. It can't be, you know. That's the first big massive deal. It goes way further than this, of course. There was an entire gameplay mode that the players were not... the gameplay mode was not unlocked, but it will be unlocked once the game actually releases. Now, let me show you one more example, or yeah, a couple of more examples to underline what I just said. Right here, you can see the developers themselves talk about them making balancing changes. They will focus on balance work before they actually release the game. Okay, keep that in mind. Here, some cards that are overly powerful or underused will be adjusted based on data. More onto all of this in just a second. Additionally though, also something that is very, very important, they say epiphany values are getting a rebalance. Epiphanies, they are a very important thing to upgrade your abilities for each character in this roguelike mode that you are probably already aware of. This will be one of, if not even the most important gameplay mode in the entire game, and the balancing there will be completely redone. Okay, so again, this underlines that no one is able to judge any character accurately yet. They can't even come close. They have no idea, no one has any idea how the balancing in this game will actually look like once it is released. Let me show you one example that 100% proves my point here. There are countless examples. Pretty much every single character already underwent huge balance changes. In my example that I will show you, we will focus on the character Khalib, because this is what pretty much everyone tells you to reroll for. Now let me tell you why and show you prove to you why these people are completely full of shit. First of all, please take a look at this ability right here from Kalib, okay? She just gains a shield, and that's gonna be about it. Now, let me show you another ability of hers, which is this one right here, Great Sword, whatever it was called, right? You saw it. Let me show you again. No, that was not it. Here you can see it. Take a good look at it. This cost 1 AP. It's called Great Sword Aquila. Alright? Now let me show you what these two abilities of Kalib looked like in the playtest. This one right here is the move that applied the shield, the move that I showed you first. In the playtest, it actually dealt 250% defense base damage to all enemies. In the showcase that I just showed you, how it will be on release, it just granted you a shield and didn't do anything else. Of course, this skill has 5 different epiphanies, and they could use the one unique one right here for the showcase, where the attack actually doesn't deal any damage and only provides a shield. I mean, this would be pretty misleading if I'm being honest. For their showcase, they should use this one right here, which is the base form of the attack. Now, this was called Vulture Launch in the playtest, which is an attack name that would imply that this attack would deal damage. Now in the last showcase, in the updated version of the character, they renamed this attack to Ultimate Protection or something like that. It has a different name, and the name now implies a defensive move, which would make perfect sense if this attack would just shield, you know what I mean? So the reasonable thing to assume here is that they actually completely reworked this attack, and the attack actually doesn't deal any damage anymore and only provides a shield, which is what the name now, the new name, also implies. So there we are. The second ability that I showed you cost 2 AP in the playtest and not just 1, and that is a huge deal. And like these two things combined, of course, they completely change how this entire character works. The role that this character fills changed from a damage dealer, from a carry, to being more of a tank. Let me show you exactly and explain to you why that is. Here it is. This is the core mechanic that Kalib as a character was all about. It is called Celestial, and what it says is, when this card is in your hand and a 2 or higher cost card is played, this card is also played as a follow-up attack, right? Now, with one of her abilities not dealing any damage anymore, and another ability of hers costing 1 instead of 2 AP, which doesn't trigger this follow-up attack here, the character becomes much worse and is drastically nerfed. You can even go as far and say this is a complete rework, because this will, she will still act as a damage dealer, but that is not her main thing anymore. She's now more of a tank than a damage dealer actually. And I could give you more examples. Pretty much, as I said, every single character got drastically changed. Rin, for example, got massive buffs, right? We cannot go over every single example. This one for Kalib was the most important, and we're gonna keep it at that and move on. Let's move on and take a little bit of a look into the gacha system, which is just your basic gacha system. This is how it works in pretty much every single gacha game out there. Even the most popular gacha games in existence use this exact same systems. So of course we have our character banner. There is a pity at 70, as you can see right here. This is the beginner banner. So of course for 70 rescues, those are the polls, you are 100% guaranteed your character. That is normally though not the case. The 70 would be the 50-50 pity. And if you would lose this pity, then you would have to do another 70 pulls, and then you have your character guaranteed that you want, right? You can see in this beginner banner you are not guaranteed one character, but one character out of those three here with Magna, Renoa and Hugo. You will of course, like it is in every single gacha game of all time, you will have to reroll here for who exactly and what other characters you want in addition to this starter character, let me call it like that. That will have to be seen, you know. Of course, once this game comes out, I will play it on like 4 or 5 different accounts, like for the entire day, 10 plus hours. I will test all of these starter characters, all the combinations, all the teams, all the game modes, right? And then when I'm done, I will have gathered enough information and I can tell you exactly what to reroll for, what to watch out for, etc. I will make content for this game, obviously, and yeah, I will have a daily upload schedule. You can expect me covering every single aspect of this game with a daily upload. But yeah, that's about it. We have our character banner, our beginner banner, right? Just like it is in every other gacha game ever. Then also, like it is with most gacha games, we have the weapon banner. Those are called partners, and those are characters that assist you in battle. You can look at it like a weapon banner, right? That would make the most sense. Again, this is like it is with every single gacha game ever, right? The most popular ones have this. You're already dealing with this, so there's no room here to complain about it whatsoever. You can see that, yeah, one of those 5-star partners is guaranteed with, I would guess, 70 pulls as well. It will be the same rates and the same PD as with our normal character banners. Now there is a little bit of a, let me say, special thing here, and that is this here called Eternal Moment. This uses a different currency compared to the other two banners. The other two banners, the weapon and the character, they use the same currency, by the way. This one here is cosmetic only, and this has a different resource that you need to pull on this, right? A different currency, and it gives you new looks, new animations for the abilities for your characters to make everything look, yeah, better, cooler, more fancy, however you want to look at it. This is cosmetic only, but yeah, kind of irrelevant if I'm being honest, but I still wanted to tell you about this. Alright, then we had weekly missions, and in the playtest we could only attempt these weekly missions 3 times. That would, if this doesn't change, would be a terrible time gate, and yeah, kinda unacceptable if I'm being honest. This would drastically reduce the quality of this game. That is because the items that we gain access to here are like key items. You need these items to progress the skill tree of a character further. We did go over earlier how important the skill trees of a character are, so this has to change on the actual release. If it doesn't change, like, this is seriously a thing that like makes the game way worse, because it's a terrible time gate. In case it is not changed and the game releases with weeklies like this, and it will still be the only way to obtain these items, then know that you have to save up on these items. Do not use them immediately, because you cannot waste these items at all, not even a single one of those, as they are way too important, right? So before you use one of these items, make 100% sure that you know exactly what character and which skill tree you advance with these items. Know the meta, know what character to use them on, and know what the teammates are around, like which teammates will you put this character with. That is key, so you know exactly what nodes in this skill tree you have to unlock first. Additionally, you will have to, I think this is daily, you will have to fulfill 8 so-called policies, and you will have to buy additional policies in a shop. They are not pretty cheap. Like, you can buy this, by the way, with in-game items. You don't have to spend real life money on this, right? But yeah, they are not quite cheap, but you still have to do this, because otherwise every time you fulfill one policy you would have to wait hours and hours and hours, and you first of all, you don't want to do that, and maybe you can't even fulfill all 8 policies per day if you don't buy or purchase with in-game currency additional policies. So keep that in mind. This is also extremely important to know. Then we have something that I think is called Growth Guide. It's like the beginner's mission that pretty much every single game has, and you want to complete these, of course, as fast as possible. As you can see here on your screen, getting these missions done will give you all kinds of different items, including pool currency, and you have to actively complete these missions. They will not fulfill by you just simply playing the game, because there are some weird mix-ups here in these missions, like buy and drink a coffee or something like that. So if you just would normally play the game, you would not fulfill the mission, at least not quick enough. So yeah, keep an eye on these growth missions and fulfill them as fast as you possibly can. As mentioned earlier, we have something called a roguelike gameplay mode here, and this is probably the most important gameplay mode in this game. So you have to choose a path here, and you do not get additional rewards based on how hard you make the challenge for you. So you can see different nodes here. The one on the very top with the pink one with the double crossing sword, that would be an easy fight. You can see on the bottom right corner there is a purple node, and this is a boss fight. This is referred to as a hard fight. And then you can see other nodes like the one on the right hand side in the middle with this little flame there. This is a rest site, a camp where you can recover your character's HP and the stress level of them. So see that you plan your path ahead and make it as easy as possible for you. Not to necessarily make it easy for you, but it increases your clear time. You will spend less time in this mode, and you can kind of choose the fastest path to speedrun this to obtain your rewards earlier, quicker, right? That would be very, very beneficial, so keep that in mind. I just mentioned something called stress level, and yes, the stress levels, they increase. Each character has a stress meter, and this increases whenever they take damage or by like specific stuff happening, especially in this roguelike mode. And once this stress meter is completely filled up, the character will have something called a mental breakdown. Now, you could finish this roguelike mode here with a character in the mental breakdown state. That is something that you want to prevent at all cost, because if you would finish a run with a character in a mental breakdown, you could not use this character in your next run, right? You would then have to spend, as you can see here on your screen, some currency to get the character out of this mental breakdown to then be able to use him again in additional runs. You can only, at least in the playtest, could only recover one character per day, because you just simply wouldn't get your hands onto more of those resources. If this stays the same, or even if you could recover multiple characters per day, right? The point still stands. Try to, if you can somehow prevent it, try it at all costs to not finish a roguelike run with a character in a mental breakdown state. In this very roguelike mode, you can play it on something called hard mode, and that is something that you want to unlock as fast as you possibly can. So the very first things that on your first 2 or 3 days, what you should accomplish is get the growth missions done, unlock the weeklies, do the weeklies, unlock hard mode for roguelike mode, and then play it, right? You also need to know how to reroll, of course, and how you do this is very simple. You start a game, you will be hit with a prologue with a little tutorial. Once you finish those, you will be sent to your very first planet, the one that you see right here on your screen, called the Blue Pot. There you finish one battle, and then you will be sent your mails, including the currency that you need to actually be able to pull for characters. Which character or characters you should pull for, no one can possibly know this yet. So more on that when the game actually releases. I will have a video on this on day 1, of course, after I tested everything myself. If you did not hit your desired result, you go back to the main screen and you click on the button on the very right hand side here. This will open up a menu. In this menu you will click on the button here on the very bottom where the arrow points towards. Then you will go to account settings, and this will open up the window in which you will have the option to delete your account. Again, if you didn't hit your desired results, you will delete the account and you will create a new account, and you repeat this process until you obtain your desired result. This is this is pretty much everything you need to know, aside from some combat information that we will cover in my next video. Last but not least, there is a combat system here. It is pretty tough to cover this because there is a mechanic in this game called mental breakdown. That is like the gimmick and what makes this combat system special. They will rework this, there will be huge changes to it coming because it was kinda iffy on the playtest. But there is still a lot to uncover when it comes to this combat system. It's quite deep. We can cover like how HP works, how AP works. The discard pile plays a pretty huge role here. How the, let me call them, elements work in this game is quite different compared to other games. So we will go over all of this kind of stuff in my next video. I hope this was fun and informative. Like, the whole point of this video was really to tell you to not fall for this clickbait slop and all the misinformation that is out there, because there's quite a bunch of it out there. I just wanted to like make you aware that no one knows how the balancing of this game will look at all. There's no way. So yeah, don't listen to anything of it. But yeah, until next time, take care of yourselves, have a great day. You can already join the Discord server and subscribe to the channel, of course. If you want to see more Chaos Zero Nightmare content from me, stay tuned. Link to my Discord server is in the description down below. But that's it for the video, guys. Peace and love.